What's happening? Andy here. I am joined today by Chap Briard. Chap is with MOEbiz down in Louisiana. How are you today, Chap?
Hey, good morning. We're doing great down here. Outstanding, shall we say.
Outstanding. Now tell us where in Louisiana you are. You are not in New Orleans, as we
That's
discussed.
right. So there's more to Louisiana than just New Orleans. We actually have 4 million people in the state, but we're in the northeast corner. So we're a biscuit throw from Arkansas, about 50 miles from the Arkansas border, 50 miles west of Vicksburg or the Mississippi River on a straight line on I-20, say from Dallas, Texas, Shreveport, all the way over Jackson, Mississippi. So northeast corner of the state, population in my MSA, our parish, unlike a county, is about 155,000. We service about 8 parishes, probably about 210,000 that we service in this.
Wow. So awesome. So there is another area in Louisiana, a biscuit throw from Arkansas. I love that. I'm going to take that expression. Tell us about MOEbiz. You guys are, I know you're a Lanier dealer. You sell HP. You're an office technology company. What products, what services, what do you guys do for your customers down there in Louisiana?
Yeah, so we've been around a long time. My grandfather started the company in 1923, so this year's year 99. Next year will be 100. So I'm third generation owner. Primarily, right, we were a traditional office supply furniture business for many, many years and sold my furniture supply business back in 2012. We're now primarily HP and Lanier. We did acquire a Konica Minolta dealer, and we had to become a Muratech dealer so that, to service those accounts. So we're a legacy, I guess, Muratech parts and supplies dealer now. And we do M&S. It's about 20% of our revenue, IT services. And then we also do record storage and scanning. So it's become a bigger portion of our business, close to 18 to 19%. We scan about 150 to 280,000 pages a month. We have our own shredder, and we store about 55,000 boxes for customers of all walks, banks, law firms, hospitals, just anybody that has records that need them stored. We can usually do it more efficiently and less expensive than they can.
So when you go do that, and you mentioned before we got on, I think you said this also was another almost 20% of your business now, which very different than the company your grandfather started, right? I mean, you're basically selling space, like cloud space.
Right.
I mean, just but converting all this hard copy into digital documents. How does that go? How did you get into that? And I think that's a great example of dealers, traditional copier resellers moving into other areas. What facilitated it? How do you do it? And how did you grow it to become almost 20% or maybe more of your annual revenue?
Well, that's a great question, and we kind of stumbled into this. Reality is about 4 years ago, I was at dinner with a guy that I know, a local guy, ran into me and said, "Hey, why don't you take me out of this File Depot?" And he had purchased a license agreement for a company called File Depot, and he had a partner, and his partner ran the record storage facility for Chase in my market. So they started this storage business. It was again a license, kind of like a franchise. There were about 10 locations throughout the Southeast, and so again, he had been running it. It was a part-time gig. They had one part-time guy there and a part-time college kid. They had about 15,000 boxes. They were profitable, and I saw, well, a lot of the customers were our same copier customers, and so he wanted out. We did some due diligence. Took about 7-8 months to put that together. We bought it, and then we kind of left it standalone from MOEbiz for about 3.5 years, and I ran it by myself pretty much, grew it, basically went to all our copier customers and said, "Hey, you got records in storage?" And 40, 50% of them had them in a mini storage building. They got them in their warehouse. They don't know where they are. It's out of sight, out of mind until you can't find the record. So it's a pretty, you barcode the boxes, put them on racks. If they need them, it's a service-based business. We pull them, or we scan them for them, pull them or deliver them, or then we shred them. So last year we merged that business with MOEbiz and got out of our agreement with that license agreement. So we now branded under MOEbiz. And as a result, we started scanning too. In my market, a large scanning bureau data bank closed, and we purchased their facilities, not their business, but their facilities. And we were able to onboard several of their old clients who wanted to stay local with a local vendor. And then since then, we've grown it just from a little business process automation for some clients, nonprofits that were producing a lot of forms on our equipment, and we know that that's probably not the long-term end game, and they wanted to automate. So we were able to help them with some e-forms and some back-end stuff that allows them to digitize stuff for auditing. So yeah, it's become a pretty big portion of our business, and in the shredding business as well. The shredding business was primarily purging records, like somebody's got a warehouse and they purge. We bought our own shredder. We were outsourcing that initially, and then since then we've started to put the records, the boxes or cans, shall we say, consoles into our clients as we can. There's other competitors in our market. There's two behemoths, Iron Mountain and Shred-it, and so we compete with those guys every day, and we try to use that as an advantage to increase our copier business as well.
Now, how do you sell this? Is it done through your typical copier, printer technology salespeople, or do you have specialists for this, or how does that work?
Well, it's a great question, because honestly, I'm so fortunate to be blessed in SDG, and we understand comp, from the copier printer side, So this was different. So, it's really flying blind. I did most of the selling for the first 3.5 years. I did hire a full-time salesperson, a friend of mine, a cousin of mine actually, who retired from Frito-Lay after 30 years and was like, I can't go home and do nothing. I got to go. So he's been really great in our market. He knows people. So we do have a specialist that's focused on growing the shred business and the scan business. However, we have moved across the line to the copier reps. You know how reps are. They're great at what they do, but when it comes to learning new stuff, outside of their scope, it's really not. So our goal is for them to really just bring the lead back to us. We comp them on that, and then we let the specialist handle the details of the contract or the quote, so they're not bogged down in the day-to-day of that, if that makes any sense. But we weren't really doing a great job of that, just to be transparent and frank, but we're doing a much better job now. And I think the reps, the traditional copier printer reps, can see the advantageous to that, when they're in accounts and they already have a good relationship. But we just got a big purge job from a sheriff department that we've been doing their work for years, and I don't think they really knew that we were in that business, So they've been looking for somebody to clean out some 18-wheelers full of junk records, and we ended up doing that for them.
Very cool. So there's a ton of opportunity in that. It's just really a matter of going back to your customer base, which frankly, that's what we should all be doing anyway, right? Is cultivate. The easiest sales come from people who already like you, right? And it's just a matter of informing them. If they think, they use you for copiers and printers, then that's what you do. If they use you for networking services, then that's what you do. But if they don't know, the other parts of the business, then they'll never think to call you. So, going back through those records is a great way to come up with, that sheriff's account, that sheriff department, or just that other account that's ripe for you to go get a nice deal on. And so you're growing that into a new part of your business. Did you have to add on space? Were you equipped to handle the storage? Is that in your building, or do you have another facility for that?
When we purchased the company, the former owners had a building that they owned, and so I leased that from them. It was 10,000 square feet. We quickly outgrew that. I luckily had purchased an old gym where our copier business is, MOEbiz, and actually they had racquetball courts that were vacant, and so we actually occupied them for another 6,000-7,000 square feet. We outgrew that, and then again, fortunately, in my market, fortunately for me, when DataBank decided to close, those facilities were left. The guy was local that owned them. He said, "Hey, it was 58,000 square feet. I don't want them. They're older buildings. They're in a good market. They're only 1.5 miles from my current location." And there were some fixed assets in here that were really beneficial, shelving and racks. But we finally completed merge, and we moved all of our boxes. We had about 55,000 boxes in that warehouse out. We've completed January 31st. So yeah, initially we did not have the space, and we would have had to outsource that or go purchase space or add on to my current facility, if that makes any sense.
Excellent. Let's switch gears a little, talk about print. You've got two great partners, HP, Lanier. Lanier is obviously Ricoh, part of the Ricoh family group. So gives you the full gamut of products to sell from, I know whiteboards all the way up, from the little tiny desktop printers all the way up to the biggest things I can imagine with Ricoh. So, through COVID, through the last 2 years, being in a biscuits throw from Arkansas, how's it been? How have your vendors, supported you? How's it been working with the two of them? Those are two great brands, and how's it been for your community down there? What's it been like the last couple of years with your brands and your business?
Well, like most dealers, I'm sure, we had sourcing issues and we still have them today. And I know the manufacturers are really trying to do their best to please
Yeah.
and placate every dealer. We have small dealers like me, and then you've got some mega dealers. There's always a bunch of he said, she said. I try not to get into that.
Well,
Our goal is
the good news is nobody can get machines, so it doesn't matter how big or
That's
small
right.
you are. There's one brand that seems to be doing pretty well with getting machines, but the rest of them are all sort of in that same struggling category, I would say. And both of your brands, just like everyone else, is.
That's right. So it's been challenging, especially for the sales team, because obviously they're on commission. So we've
Yeah,
had to change our sales comp plan and kind of subsidize that to a degree. And I think they've appreciated that. We certainly, we want to keep our people. They're loyal. We like them. They're good, hardworking people, and they've helped us be successful. But, like you said, it's been challenging. We find ourselves purchasing more used equipment than we probably ever have. And then trying to flip customers, unfortunately, but you go in with a Ricoh product, and for whatever reason that model's unavailable, and it gets to be 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, we find something else and try to flip them, because we want to keep the customer. We worked hard to have the customer, and so we want to keep the customer. But there's no doubt it has been an enormous challenge, more so. I mean, who'd have ever thunk it, Andy, that we would have had problems? Never in the history of the world, right? We were always trying, the manufacturers are always trying to load us up to buy
yeah.
the trips, meet our quotas.
Boats are coming.
They're like anybody. They want to grow. They want to put 10 pounds of stuff in a 5-pound bag. And so I'd have never in a million years thought that we'd be struggling buying products.
Yeah.
But we've managed. We've limped along. We've had people. I can tell you this. I've never in my life thought we'd be taking actual loaners into the field just because we can't get toner.
Yeah.
The good news
You're no
is most
different.
of our
You're no
customers.
different. That's the trend now, right? That's the trend. Everybody's got to deal with that, and virtually almost every brand's got that issue right now. No matter what you're selling, it's just a matter of were you the lucky guy? The lucky company who got their equipment this week, right? And that doesn't matter if you're Lanier, Ricoh, HP, or Canon, Xerox, Sharp. Well, not Sharp, but pretty much everybody is having these issues. And it's a challenge for you. It's amazing to watch you guys all keep your doors open when it's hard to find toner in some cases. It's hard to sometimes get the parts. It's hard to get the equipment, but we'll get through this. It's hopefully another 6 to 12 months, and we'll look back on this and say, wow, I can't believe we did it.
All right.
But there are other things that you sell too, and is this lack of print hardware, has this pushed you to sell other things, or is it just sort of the whiteboards, the document management, as you were selling, is it opened new doors for you, or gotten your people interested in selling other things that maybe they wouldn't have sold so much if this hadn't happened?
I would say the answer is 100% yes, but I would say sometimes as the owner, I'm a little bit chaotic, meaning that I got a little panic mode. So back in March of 2020, I was throwing anything at the wall that would stick, from the one screen technology type products to voice over internet phone systems to, we got to sell this, we got to sell those recognizing things that tell you your temperature, that are on constant back order. So I was probably overwhelming. If I had to do it again, I would have probably a little bit more strategic, but I went into literally panic mode. We were looking like anybody. Oh, our expenses. What are we going to do? What's the PPP about? Who do we keep? We were fortunate, and we kept all of our people.
Very nice.
We ended up picking up VoIP and sticking with VoIP. We did not. We tried the one screen type or those type of products, and we were not successful in our market with that for a bunch of reasons, But we definitely picked up VoIP, and we've made some headway into that and done pretty well with that. We hope to grow that further. And then again, the scan shred business, we've definitely grown it for sure. So, but yeah, I would think if anything, it opened my eyes up to, because for the first and the crazy thing is, you already know this, we didn't really have a supply chain issue in March of 2020 because there was enough product in the pipeline. So had we known, any dealer would have just bought.
You could have had all you wanted.
Possibly could.
You could have had all you wanted. Well, It's funny you mentioned that, because the knee jerk at the beginning of all this was nobody thought hardware, but a lot of the people that I was interviewing, a lot of people I was talking to, it was supplies they were buying. Everybody was afraid their customers were going to run out of supplies, right? It was just, nobody really thought, most people I chatted with didn't think about the hardware being an issue. And it was just, how are we going to keep these machines going? How are we going to keep them going? And then, so a lot of them bought and bought and bought supplies. And that sat on your shelves, because what was the next thing that happened? Everybody shut down. Nobody was printing. So now you've got to, right. And I guarantee you those guys are happy they bought the supplies, but at the time they were probably, they probably had to eat it on their balance sheet for that. But it's just been so crazy. You don't, a decision that was a wrong decision, a month ago turns out to be a great decision today. You just don't know, right? And the way things kind of rolled out, pushed people like you into new areas of, opportunity, right? So, you going forward, VoIP is a huge area of opportunity for a company like you, for any company in our industry that's into IT, because it's just sort of that natural. Look, it's not security. You're not on the hook as much as you are, if somebody gets ransomware, or, it's a reoccurring revenue type of product. It's a product that significantly improves every 3 years or so. So it's just an easy sale, compared to other things that you could be bringing in. So great that you moved there. Wrapping up, I want to kind of just address you guys coming in on 100 years. That's pretty amazing. Third generation. Our company here is also third generation. We are at closing in on 50 years. And actually, this is our 10th year anniversary for the newsletter that you guys, enjoy. So my son joined us in June. He's the third generation. So, hopefully he'll, carry the torch forward. But tell me about you guys. You're third generation. You started nearly 100 years ago. It was your grandfather's business. Do you remember it as a little kid? Do you remember going down to the store, and what was it like? And tell me about the changes.
I got good memories and some tough memories, but yeah, he started in 1923 selling ad machines, really from Monroe, but actually traveling salesperson for Sunstrand ad machines in New Orleans, and then ended up opening up a store in Monroe, typewriters, traditional office supplies. He actually opened one in Lake Charles and Alexandria during World War II, right before World War II, and then sold those after the war, because there was a big need for typewriters back in, Fort Polk was in Alexandria. And then my dad joined the business in '69, and he opened up in Baton Rouge and New Orleans. So at one time we had about 4 or 5 stores in Louisiana. But then I got in the business right out of college, or right out of the Navy in '89. And at that time, there was a lot of different dynamics going on with the company. We sold furniture. There was a lot of overhead, state contract, low margin. But he ended up closing those other locations and just being in Monroe. So, and I ended up purchasing the company in '91. My dad actually worked for me, and that's the other way around, if you know what I mean by that. He's a great guy, he's an A-type guy, but he did retire in 2003, 100%. But yeah, it's been a roller coaster. If you look back at the beat, I saw a typewriter, an IBM wheelwriter at a bank yesterday that we sold probably in the, early 90s or something. Still had our old tag on it before we changed our name to MOEbiz from Monroe Office Equipment. I could have opened that typewriter up and looked in the date it was set. So yeah, the whole industry, as you know, is evolved, and it is kind of interesting. We used to throw all these big, 75th anniversary, 85th anniversary. And I used to get frustrated because it cost a bunch of money. And I'm like, everybody's just drinking our food. They don't care. But reality is, we're very proud of the fact that if you look in the phone book 20 years ago and see who our competition was, there's only 2 left, or actually only 1 now. From that long, from back in that, really back up to only up to about mid '90s. So we're very fortunate. Working in a family business has its ups and downs and challenges, as you probably know. But again, we're fortunate, and we might actually spend a few dollars and have some drinks and crawfish and biscuit throws for our 100-year anniversary.
Will you let me know when that is? I would love to come down there and celebrate that with you next year. That's going to be a great moment for your company. This was awesome. Thanks so much for taking the time out of your schedule, catching up with you. And I know we'll be seeing you at an SDG meeting in September, if not sooner. So
that's right.
Enjoy your spring down there at Chapter Yard. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you for doing what you do, Andy.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Have a good one.
Have a good one. Thank you.